Yeah, good morning and good evening once again. So in the last class, we started cloud security part and we did not discuss security yet. So we discussed about only what is meant by cloud and what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages. Also, we discussed about who are all the cloud service providers are available in the market right now. And also we have seen about characteristics of the cloud. And also even we discussed about the cloud service provider environments. And we discussed about the So what are the prerequisites are required part of the cloud security side when the applications are migrating from cloud to on-premise? So those things we discussed. Let's go and discuss about more into cloud security part. So this one also once again like introductory kind of thing. It's not a deep dive into the respect to cloud service provider. So in the today's class, what is the agenda? Basically mainly into what is the difference between the on-premise network architecture diagram versus cloud security architecture diagram. Long back when we discussed about networking part of the initial classes of our overall cybersecurity side, they are explained about how the network architecture diagram looks like. It is in the data center or on-premise side. That time itself, even I discussed about cloud also, but I'm not sure how many people are remember that cloud security posture of the how to deploy and what are the different types of solutions we have to deploy and where to deploy and so on. Anyways, we can go and we can discuss about cloud security architecture diagram once again. If time permits, then I can go and I can start about, as I mentioned, cloud security assessment side. For that one, we can follow a couple of cloud security frameworks. In the last class, already told you, instead of the going to the irrespective of the cloud service provider, what are frameworks they are following in generic. Like as I mentioned, if any attacker is trying to do the hacking, how we can follow the cyber process in the similar way. If the offensive and defensive mechanism side, we can use MITRE ATT&CK or MITRE ATT&CK framework for the incident management and also configuration management and change management, problem statement and solution statement will follow ITL. For risk management framework, we'll follow NAST framework. In the similar way, for another, so instant lifecycle management process is provided by NIST cybersecurity framework and so on. How these security baselines or frameworks are common to each and every security domain, same as it is for cloud also. So most of the organizations will follow cloud security alliance related assessment side. So that contains the 17 modules. That one we are going to discuss later. So agenda for today class, one is cloud security architecture diagram, and second one is so cloud security assessment and frameworks. Let's go and start now. So first one is cloud security architecture diagram. Hope everybody is remembered about network architecture diagram. If you remember network architecture diagram, then only you will understand about cloud security architecture diagram. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Hope you remember network architecture diagram, if I understood correctly. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. What about others? Everybody is aware of on-premise or data center network architecture diagram or logical flow diagram or pictorial representation of the network architecture diagram, how we can deploy, what we can deploy, which devices we can deploy in the trust and untrust and also DMZ zone.
Well, yes, we
Anyways,
are able.
yeah. So this is same almost. So up to here, internet, you can consider it is like almost equivalent to our on-premise only. But only one thing I have done the modification before class has been started, just 1 hour back. So this one I was drawing. This is logical flow diagram for any cloud environment. So forget about these B2C customer and B2B customer and on-premise. So only think about now server LAN. It's a backend or trust zone side that may belongs to our Active Directory, domain controller, DNS, SMTP, DHCP, web server, database server, and whatever tools we are going to configure, irrespective of whether we are using BYOL or maybe we are using native services of the cloud. Yeah, before going to that one, I want to clarify one more thing here. I forgot to say in the last class. What is cloud native services versus BYOL? Okay. First thing is cloud native services. Cloud native services meaning here, whatever cloud service provider, that may be Amazon or Azure or GCP or Alibaba or OCI or maybe IBM or Oracle and so on, inbuilt, they have default services development. So those services, if you are using, that one we can call it as a native services or default services. So this is CSP provided services or default services. So how these people will provide these services? Backend development team will develop these services. Okay. So second one is called as BYOL. So what is mean of BYOL? Already when we discussed about mobile device management and also when we discussed about endpoint security side, I said BYOD, bring your own device. In this similar way, what is meant by BYOL? It's a bring your own license. So that bring your own license, it is a contract or agreement between. So our cloud service provider and whatever tool we are going to purchase. What is mean by that, sir? Practically, can you please explain? Maybe how this question. For example, I don't like to use Amazon Web Application Firewall because it does not contain the so many features as compared to Akamai, Barracuda, or Imperva. In this similar way, I don't like whatever Amazon is providing network access control list or security groups or firewall. But I like Palo Alto or FortiGate or Cisco ASA firewall. In that scenario, so what is BYOL? Bring your own license. I can go and I can purchase the licensing that may Palo Alto or FortiGate or Cisco ASA firewall instead of the Amazon oriented network access control list or security groups or may firewall. So because I don't want to use less features from the technical perspective. So when you're comparing whatever BYOL license oriented features are more from the technical perspective and also cost is less effective. Along with that one, even you have to validate cloud native services. Then compare these two, whatever BYOL versus cloud native, which one is better for us from the technical perspective and also financial perspective. Then finally, you can choose whatever you like, whether you want to go with the or BYOL bring your own license oriented, or maybe whatever default services or native services are provided by the cloud environment of the cloud service provider. So this is the way you have to done the evaluation or validation. So this is called one type of solution designing basically. Okay. So that is called bring your own license. Using the third party tool in the cloud service provider. Then maybe you can ask now, what is the advantage of the, okay, so what are cloud service provider we are utilizing? Maybe we are purchasing from the respect so and so. So Palo Alto or FortiGate or maybe IBM Curator or maybe EDR and so on. But what is the advantage for Amazon? What is the advantage for Google? Or what is the advantage for Azure side? In between Amazon and also Palo Alto, in between Azure and Palo Alto, in between Google Cloud and Palo Alto. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Some network issues. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So in between Google Cloud and also Palo Alto, they have some of the contractual agreement, and also finally, they can share the revenue, how the revenue whoever is purchasing whatever licensing they are using as a third party side. So they have their own contractual agreements. So in such a way, respective vendor also will get the profit, not only us. So that is completely depending on up to them, how the vendors versus the cloud service provider will take care, because we are like a customers now. That's called CSC, cloud service customers and cloud service provider and third party vendors. So Example, as I said, Palo Alto firewall or Akamai web application firewall, or so I don't like maybe our Microsoft cloud service provider EDR tool that is called Microsoft Defender for Cloud, part of the EDR. Maybe I want to go with CrowdStrike. Then I can purchase the Bring Your Loss CrowdStrike side. So this is the way, based on the tool and based on the technical perspective, based on the features perspective, and based on the commercial validation, these solution designing team are security architects. They can go and they can do the evaluation and validation, which feature is more. So whether it is bring your own license feature is more technical perspective, or maybe native service provided feature is more. So this is the way how they will do the comparison by comparing the different parameters. So that may be retention policy, that may be technical parameters, that may be on-premise, or that may be deployment perspective, that may be complaints related, that may be so cost perspective, and so on. So this is the way how we can choose in between cloud native services versus bring your own license. Okay, so that is about difference now. Why I brought this topic now? So you should aware of that one. Why? Because whether we want to choose the cloud native services by default, whatever cloud service provider it is providing, or whether we have to choose the bring your own license whenever we are doing the solution designing side. Okay. Now this one already, as I said, we discussed part of the on-premise network architecture diagram or logical flow diagram or pictorial representation, where to deploy what type of the devices or servers or databases or applications or network devices or end user machines. You can see one thing here. I removed from access, I mean end users from the in between access switch and core switch. Because in the cloud, we don't have any dedicated user laptops and MacBooks and so on. So that is the reason I did not create any user information here. Okay. So where that information will be there, that information will be there, physical laptops or MacBooks or workstations or desktop they are using either in the office location, or maybe they are working from the work from home option or remote work. So that is the reason I put it like on-premise. You can see employees or end users, they are sitting either in the office location, or maybe they are sitting in their own home also. So it depends. So that is the reason I mentioned as on-premise. On-premise, or maybe so their remote work. Okay. So now additionally, I removed one more thing here, web application firewall. You can see in parallel to network architecture diagram, when we discussed about networking concepts, firewall parallel, I provided web application firewall. Firewall parallel, I provided email gateway. So in the similar way, firewall parallel, I provided non-critical servers also. Now, what is the difference between on-premise versus cloud security architecture diagram? So in the on-premise side, in parallel to next generation firewall, we have to deploy our web application firewall. Same traffic, whatever it is entering into the next generation firewall, the traffic, it will go to our web application firewall also. But in the cloud environment, it is opposite way. First, we have the traffic will come to internet to ISP router to web application firewall. From this web application firewall, then we have to reroute the traffic to firewall. Then if you want to use any load balancer, you can use load balancer in the our network level, or maybe if you want to use any load balancer in the application level, the traffic is coming from the application side, then we can keep one more application level gateway that is here also. It depends. So whether you want to, first of all, what are the different types of load balancers we do have in the cloud side? One is on the application gateway. So this is basically whatever the traffic is coming from the web application firewall, it can go and it can do the balancing of the HTTP and HTTPS traffic. So that is called application load balancer. So this is called application gateway also. Application side load balancer, mainly for the HTTP and HTTPS traffic. We have one more load balancer. So that is called as front end, along with content development network. For front end, I'll keep. So this application gateway or application load balancer is for the regional side. What is meant by regional and what is meant by global here? So regional meaning here only for one location. So like a headquarters. If it is what is global mean? Headquarters along with remote branch offices. For example, my office is deployed in Bangalore. My office is deployed in California. My office is deployed in Singapore. In that scenario, I can go to front end load balancer. So that is global way. Then if you want to use once again regional based load balancer related to HTTP and HTTPS traffic, yes, we can do that one also. So that the front end load balancer is mainly for the global oriented. It's mainly for the where the distributed deployment option is available. So that is nothing but our headquarters versus remote branch offices, where the cloud is deployed in the our main headquarters and also remote branch offices. So that is called global. Then what is the regional? Dedicated to one single location. My application, everything is located in this single location, maybe in Hyderabad. In that scenario, I don't want to go for the front end load balancer. I can go directly with the application gateway or application load balancer. So this is the way how we can do the balancing of the HTTP traffic and HTTPS traffic. So far we discussed about two different types of load balancers in the cloud environment. Next one, normal load balancer. So this is basically in the network level. So whatever these two load balancer, it's based on the application layer level as per OSI. This also for OSI side as per application layer. No, this load balancer is mainly for the network level. Network level as per OSI layer approach. So what is the third layer? It's a network layer where we can get the internet data in the form of the IP packets. So here it will do the packet load balancing. Once the application oriented traffic load balancing is completed, the traffic will come to next generation firewall, and firewall will reroute to the traffic to the load balancer. Then it will distribute the traffic to the different types of the clusters. Whatever pool of the clusters we configured backend database, backend load balancer. So that is packet load balancing side. So next one is traffic load balancer. This is, I can say, DNS. Please remember all these concepts because we have to discuss all these things once we are going to the respective cloud service provider. So here DNS traffic, if you want to do the balancing, too much of the domains of the flooding of the request it is coming to eliminate about DOS or DDoS category of the attack, or maybe any flooding category of the attack, especially based on the domains oriented. In that scenario, we can use the DNS load balancer. So DNS will work in the application layer. DNS also will work in the our network layer. So that is about overall 4 different types of load balancers. So what I mean to say here, according to our requirement, whether you want to route the traffic through the application oriented traffic, then you can use the application oriented load balancer. If you want to do the load balancing in the dedicated to IP packets, then you can deploy the load balancer part of in front of the firewall as in the trust zone side. Then you can configure the pools or clusters where the balancing of the load can be to happen. If the DNS oriented, you can configure under the DNS side part of the trust zone. So this is the way how the load balancer traffic it will happen. Now, once the traffic is coming to the ISP router, and in parallel to ISP router, we have to deploy anti-DOS and anti-DDoS tools. So whatever cloud service provider we are using, irrespective of the cloud service provider. It's any flooding of the category of the traffic it's happening. That may be through application, DOS and DDoS category of the attack, or so using TCP flood or ICMP flood or sync flood or UDP flood or ARP flood or ICMP flood or ping flood or ping of death or MAC flood attack. So in parallel to ISP router, we have to define the our anti-DOS and anti-DDoS tool. That is completely our choice. Whether we can go and we can use BYOL, bring your own license related to Akamai, Barracuda or Imperva, or maybe any other DDoS protection solution, or maybe you can use your cloud native service provider load balancer protection also. For example, Amazon side, we can say Amazon AWS DDoS protection. That is called Shield, AWS Shield. If you are going with Azure side, they can say Azure DDoS protection. If you are going with Google Cloud, they will say Google Cloud DDoS protection. If you are going with OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, they will say Oracle DDoS protection. It depends the one vendor and one service provider terminology. It is different with another vendor terminology. Okay, but otherwise, concept wise, it is same as it is. Okay, so next one, the traffic will go to proxy to NADS and APS. This one already you know. These layer approach, we can call it as network three-tier architecture diagram. One more thing, whether you want to use next generation firewall in the cloud environment or whether you want to configure the network access control list or security groups or Amazon firewall or Azure firewall or GCP firewall or Oracle firewall, completely it's up to you. So based on the requirement to you, obviously what it will do, firewall, Azure firewall or Amazon firewall or our GCP firewall, it will do the so monitoring of the inbound traffic and outbound traffic, and it will prevent. And also whatever attacks are happening to the virtual net, whatever we discussed about in the our on-premise data center, it's a part of the physical LAN. But in the cloud environment, we can call it as a virtual private circuit, that is in the Amazon Web Services, and VNet in the Azure. In the GCP side also, we can say virtual private circuit, and we can configure the virtual machine. It depends. So we have to, it will prevent whatever the traffic it is entering into the virtual net or virtual local area network. All those resources backend, it is configured as a virtual machine. That virtual machine may be or RDP server or database server or web server, Active Directory, domain controller, and so on. So these firewall of the cloud native service based, it can monitor any threats are happening trying to do the behind the virtual machine part of our VNet. It can monitor that one and it will prevent using the advanced persistent threat capability and based on the stateful inspection firewall based on the deep packet inspection. One is the drawback in the cloud environment dedicated to the firewall side. So deep packet inspection capability does not exist in like Palo Alto or FortiGate or maybe Cisco ASA firewall or Juniper or Hawaii, how the deep packet inspection it is doing. But unfortunately, so far no cloud service provider vendor is supporting our deep packet inspection capability. Okay, so that is the drawback. So what cloud service provider firewall it will do, based on the inbound traffic and outbound traffic it is coming, it will do the stateful inspection. What is mean stateful inspection? It will do this, what is the state of the packet, whether it is synchronization state or synchronization plus acknowledgement state, or whether it is acknowledgement state. So that is called stateful inspection. According to the packet state, it can provide. So then we can go and we can create the policies or rules. So that is about, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you want to use cloud service provided firewall, that is also fine. And based on the our requirement side, and whether you want to choose the bring your own license third party firewall, that is also fine. Okay, it's completely so up to us how we can go and we can do the solution designing or architecture designing side. Okay, that one basically solution architect people will take care of all these analysis. Okay. Now, once the traffic is going, this is called network three-tier architecture, firewall, proxy, network IDS, and network IPS. And once again, this load balancer also, you no need to use the what a cloud service provider load balancer it is using. Even we can use couple of third-party load balancer. Example, F5. F5 have the GTM, global traffic load balancer, and also even it has the LTM, local traffic load balancer. So that is the difference between the BYOL versus our on-premise solution. In this similar way, so we have A10 load balancer, other load balancers also. Okay, so that is up to us whether we can use the load balancer from the respective vendor, from the third party, or whether we can use the our inbuilt services, whatever we are using, part of the Amazon or Azure or GCP or maybe Oracle and so on. Okay, so these three things we can call it as our network three-tier architecture, and where we are deploying our backend virtual machines. On top of these virtual machines, we can deploy database server, web servers, DNS, DHCP, and everything. So once again, these servers also, whether you want to go with the inbuilt virtual machines on top of the our application deployment you want to do, or whether you want to go and utilize Windows IIS server. For example, I want to deploy another application. So from the scratch, in that scenario, whether I want to use Windows IIS server or Red Hat Enterprise Linux or Apache Tomcat web server or Nginx server and so on, it depends up to us completely. That one will be taken care by respective application developers. So, but what is our role? Our role is mainly to take care of the overall security, but you should be aware of even application development team, networking team, computing team, and the DevOps team, TechOps team, machine learning team, database team, services also. Then only you should be like jack in all trades. You should be aware of the overall cloud. It's not like only you are aware of the security services, that is not sufficient. You should be aware of the entire cloud environment. Then only you can do the proper cloud security assessment side. So that is about overall our on-premise side. Now, sorry, cloud environment architecture diagram. Let's go and discuss about these cloud environment. So one more thing here, once the application is migrating from on-premise to the cloud environment, for example, right now, my application is sitting in the on-premise physical server, for example, facebook.com. I deployed on top of the Windows IIS server. That one I don't want to use because of the operational maintenance issues, upgrade issues, high availability issues, change management issues, configuration management issues. My on-premise Facebook application, I want to migrate from the, so our on-premise data center, the cloud environment. That is one thing, migrating of the on-premise application to the cloud environment. In the similar way, we have one more concept from the scratch. I don't want any physical data center. Everything I can deploy in the cloud itself. So that is like from the scratch. If you want to deploy any application in the cloud environment, that is also possible. Because I want to establish tomorrow archt Technologies as a new company, I don't want to investment too much on the physical data center and servers and also ventilation and also room and physical address location and so on. It's because burden also expensive, and also I have to maintain the operational cost and maintenance cost, physical cost. It is very expensive for me. I don't want to use that one. I can go and I can use in the directly deploying of the architechnologies.com in the our cloud environment. So this is the way I can go and I can utilize the from the scratch deploying of the application, new applications in the cloud environment also. For example, these two things keep in mind. Your organization is located in the on-premise and also cloud environment. In that scenario, nothing but our physical end users are employees. They are trying to access the cloud environment. That is called as on-premise versus cloud. Example, now you are sitting here and couple of our applications are located in the cloud. Take example, your ERP platform. That ERP platform may be your HR management system. So that may be payroll system or your salary slips download and so on, or ticketing tool you are using, part of our third party. So that is also deployed in the cloud environment. In that scenario, how these on-premise employees, they are trying to access these applications are deployed in the cloud environment side. Now, you are deploying, you are sitting in the physical, in your work, in your work location, that is called data center or on-premise or work location, or maybe you are doing work from home option, like a remote, you are sitting at your home. In that scenario, what you have to do, when you want to apply a leave, or maybe you want to download a salary slip, or maybe you want to access one of the ticket in the ticketing tool. From this one, it will go to your on-premise firewall. I'm not going to discuss once again all those network related proxy, IDS, IPs, and so on. It will go to firewall. So then you can connect it to VPN. If you want to access any of the cloud-based applications also, irrespective of whether it is a IS-based, SaaS-based, or platform as a service. So nowadays, all over the worldwide, one of the drawback, most of the organizations, they're not implementing security control. In the last class also I discussed. SaaS-based deployments they are trying to use as a third party. That may be Confluence, that may be Jira, that may be ServiceNow, that may Office 365, that may be Google Drive or OneDrive, and so on. All these are SaaS-based. Without VPN, they are trying to access all these applications. As per ISO 27001, even though it's SaaS-based applications, if the employee is sitting in the work from home as a remote, or maybe through our office location, they have to access compulsory through VPN. That may be our EDR tools or firewalls or proxies as SaaS-based, compulsory VPN. But most of the organizations are not implementing that one. That is as per ISO 27001, it's one of the network access control under network and communication security side. It's one of the class, or it's one of the, it's one of the class out of 18 classes, whatever we discussed. Okay, so now he has to connect VPN. From that VPN, he has to connect GEM server. Either he can connect the GEM server, or either he can connect the Citrix or any other third-party application gateway, how you're connecting your cloud environment, or maybe you can use a Bastion. So to connect these environments, it's a better always use VPN. Then you can connect to GEM server to access the cloud environment, or you can use a Bastion. You can connect to the cloud environment, or in between on-premise to the cloud environment, you can create one of the virtual tunnel. From on-premise firewall to the wherever our cloud firewall is deployed, or otherwise instead of the firewall, maybe you want to use dedicated VPN also. That is called VPN gateway. Different vendor, they'll call different. Whatever you like. Whether you want to use firewall as a VPN, all this concept I'll discuss under the firewall. VPN gateway you can use, or firewall also you can connect as VPN, site-to-site VPN. Because this one is one region, this cloud environment is deployed, and this is our on-premise physical location. So this one also it is possible. These three options, whatever you can use it. Either you can use GEM server concept, or either you can use Bastion, or either you can use our site-to-site VPN. So compare the cost, and also think about data whatever you're trying to access. According to that one, you can choose the GEM server, or either you can choose the on-premise VPN to the cloud VPN, and so that you can go and you can access it. So this is the way how the on-premise employees can access the applications are deployed. Not only just applications are deployed, even DevOps team, they want to go and they want to do the releasing of the development plus operational. that is part of the CI/CD pipeline. Whatever release, it is coming as a part of the, so our DevOps oriented or machine learning and artificial intelligence team. They want to deploy one of the, so ML/AI related application in the cloud environment. They want to try to access from the on-premise side. They can obviously, you can use gem server or maybe any other third-party gateways, or maybe directly VPN gateways. So maybe SecOps team, our cybersecurity SOC operations team, they want to do 24/7, 365 days operating of our cloud environment and also on-premise environment. So they want to analyze the logs, couple of logs. They need access to the cloud environment also. Then obviously they can go on, they can access. So they can create one of the Amazon website account or my Azure account or GCP account based on the identity and access management and based on the role-based access control with the multi-factor authentication, maybe using the, so default authenticator from the respective cloud service provider, or maybe you can use the federated identity as well, third party. Okay. So whether you want to use once again zero trust network access, or whether you want to use so our native service provided whatever inbuilt respect cloud service provider. Okay, so that is one thing related to on-premise employees. So example like in machine learning and artificial intelligence, TechOps team and SecOps team, cybersecurity SOC operation, DevOps team, developers, testers, and so on. So that is about on-premise employees, how they will access. Whenever they are trying to access these applications are deployed in the cloud environment, obviously they can use authentication is very, very important. Authorization is very, very important. For that one, we have to implement either you want to integrate on-premise Active Directory to the cloud environment Active Directory. It depends on the Azure Active Directory, or maybe it is Amazon Active Directory or GCP Active Directory. So whatever we are doing, the syncing up on-premise Active Directory users to the cloud environment Active Directory users. That is also possible. So using the cloud sync option is possible. Using the Azure Active Directory sync is option is possible, or using Azure Active Directory Connect is possible. Amazon Active Directory Connect is possible. So these are all the different services are there. That is the reason, as I said, even you should aware of the computing of other teams, whatever they're trying to use it. Then only you should aware of entire overall cloud security posture management. Okay, so then integrating of on-premise Active Directory to the cloud Active Directory. Along with that one, once the on-premise employees, they are trying to access any of the cloud services, whatever deployed, resources, whatever it is deployed, applications, whatever they deployed, we can go and we can implement identity and access management. So for that one, we have to define the role-based access control. Permissions and grants we have to define. For that one, we have to provide once again access key and secret key to the respective users. And in case you are using any federated third-party identity, that may be example single sign-on or Microsoft Ping identity, or maybe any other third-party identities you are using, that is also fine. ForgeRock, example ForgeRock. So that one also we can integrate. So that is for authentication. There is so much of thing is important from the authentication side. Why? Because if the loopholes are there in the authentication authorization part of the identity and access management, so lot of attacks will happen to the our cloud environment. So that is the reason identity and access management, privilege access management, so customer access management, customer identity access management is very, very, very important. Okay, so for this one, we should implement zero trust principles. That is called ZDNA. We have to implement our single sign-on solution, multi-factor authentication, integrating with on-premise Active Directory, cloud Active Directory, under multi-factor authentication. Once again, you know about OTPs, captchas, authenticator, and also pass keys, biometrics, all those things we have to implement. Then only we can go and we can give the access to the cloud environment. Okay, that's why dedicated to IAM also we have a lot of vacancies. For example, CyberRk. For example, PAM solutions, privilege access management, or identity access management, IAM architects. There are so many solutions for dedicated IAM also because everyone is migrating to the cloud. So that is one thing, how the on-premise employees, they are trying to access on the cloud environment. So next one. But cloud service provider terminology, it will change from vendor to vendor. Example, as I said, Amazon Active Directory, they will call it as. And if it is going for Azure side, they will say Azure Active Directory. And also under the Azure Active Directory, there are so many services are available. Example, Azure Entra or Azure Entra Connect, Azure Entra Connect Security, multi-factor authentication. So Azure Entra Privileged Access Management. There are so many things. That's what I'm saying. So vendor to vendor, cloud service provider side also, those native services or default service or it will vary. Okay. So that is about on-premise employees, how they will access to the cloud environment or resources or services part. Now, so second thing is customers are public. For example, ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank or Google Pay or PhonePe or Zomato or Swiggy are deployed in our cloud environment. So now customer here, obviously, so whoever is whoever fall under the our customer side, that may be each and every end user. So here business is ICICIbank.com, HDFCbank.com, Zomato.com, or Amazon.com, or Flipkart.com, and so on. Customer identity access management also, it's very, very important. That is the reason whenever we are trying to provide access to the customer also, we should take care of the input validation, part of the application, whatever they are trying to access. We discussed under the application security side. We should not provide the queries oriented execution side, that may be SQL queries or OS queries or LDAP queries or any other queries, OS top 10, injection flaw category of the attacks, OS command injection flaw category of the attacks, time bound injection category of the attacks, untrusted data related to cross-site scripting attack or stored cross-site scripting attack, reflector cross-site scripting attack, or XML external entities, broken authentication, broken access control, and also even IDAR, indirect object reference model they are trying to access, insecure deserialization, buffer overflow. There are so many things we have to keep in the mind, part of the WASP top 10, API call security, API security, and also we have to think about even our, so WASP SANS top 25 also. Then only we can go and we can deploy our applications in such a way safe and secure. That is the reason application security also nowadays, it's like a hot cake in the market right now. But you should ever have one of the programming language if you want to crack the application security, because obviously they will test your coding language also. Okay. So that is the customer to public. Customers are public, how they will try to access the cloud environment. Business to business. Business to business meaning here, maybe I'm giving some of the business to third party. Example, my payment gateway. So now I am part of Amazon. I am the one of the developer, or maybe I am the Amazon retail company. I am CEO of the Amazon. So now I want to give business to payment gateway. I don't have payment gateway through debit card or credit card, or maybe financial transaction, whatever I'm trying to do through accept the payment. I'm going to Roser Pay. So that is third party. Whenever someone customer is trying to access the payment using the Roser Pay or maybe any other third party, PhonePe or Google Pay and so on, or PayPal, it is like a third parties. So here in between Amazon and whatever just now I said like a third party, they should be aware of the even business to business oriented authentication and how they will try to access. For that one also we have to define about, that's why I mentioned clients and partners. If you are working for any consulting and service based company, take example TCS or Infosys or HCL or Accenture or Cognizant and so on. Business to business. So you want to access the our cloud environment of the client. So as a consulting and service based company, that is one type of business to business. So that is the reason nowadays Citrix is very, very popular. So otherwise we have to deploy site-to-site VPN in between our consulting and service based company to the respective our client or customer. Maybe those applications are deployed in the cloud environment, then we have to think about business to business as well. So this is the way from the different perspective, who is accessing the applications are deployed in the cloud environment, whether it is on-premise employees or customers or business partners or vendors or public or clients and so on. According to that one, this architecture diagram, it will vary. Okay, authentication, authorization. That is the reason if we want to do that, we have to follow couple of security assessment in the cloud side. That is called cloud security assessment to monitor everything. Cloud environment, on-premise user, they are trying to access the cloud environment, or from the scratch, everything is deployed in the cloud environment as a new application. Customers, business to customers related applications or business to business. Keeping all these in mind, then Cloud Security Alliance, they created 17 modules or 17 overall principles. Whenever, if we want to access any cloud services or cloud applications, cloud databases, cloud resources, and so on, then we have to follow. There are 17 security best practices or 17 clauses. So those clauses we can call it as CCM, Cloud Control Matrix. Under the Cloud Control Matrix, we have 17 modules or 17 security best practices. Under that one, once again, we have the subcategories, what we should take care. So let's go and discuss about now Cloud Security Alliance. So that's all about overall cloud cloud security architecture diagram from the on-premise or dedicated cloud applications deployment or business to business or business to customer. Let's go and start now. Cloud Security Alliance. See, I'm giving a lot of too much terminology from the different cloud service providers because I do the experience on Amazon and Azure, OCI, basic knowledge on the GCP as well. But don't get confusion because whenever I'm teaching the class, I'm using different types of different vendors terminology. But every vendor or every cloud service provider, they have their own terminology. It will change. Okay, let's go and discuss now Cloud Security Alliance. Under the Cloud Security Alliance, as I mentioned, STAR program. It's like a framework. As I said, every cloud security provider, they have to use this Cloud Security Alliance. Whenever they are launching the application, they are deploying or migrating the applications, or accessing the resources, or accessing the database, and so on. So STAR is nothing but security, trust, assurance, and risk. That is called STAR. Security, so that will provide confidentiality, integrity, availability, trust, reputation, traceability, assurance, interoperability, and also once again believeness, reputation of the company, risk, threat and vulnerability perspective. That is called STAR. So security, trust, assurance, and risk. According to that one, we do have the cloud control matrix. Click on this called cloud control matrix. So if you want to download this one, then obviously it will ask your username and password. Please go and register this one. Then you can download. So it will ask create account. You can create the account and you should be aware of the, okay, so respective, then you can go and you can download it. I already downloaded. Ready-madely it is available from my laptop. So under this one, now you can see CSA, Cloud Security Alliance, Cloud Control Matrix is a cyber security control framework for cloud computing side. Under this one, as I said, we have 17. All these are 17. So 17 key domains or clauses or frameworks. So first one is A&A. A&A is nothing but audit and assurance. So audit and assurance side, what exactly we can go and we can take care here. So what business we are trying to do that. So whoever is acting the cloud service providers and whoever is acting the cloud applications or databases, subscriptions, and so on. So we can make sure that we have to do the auditing. For that one, we should provide and we have to take care of the security related logs. We have to configure application related logs. We have to configure from the scratch. So everything we have to configure. Already we discussed on the cybersecurity side. So application logs, audit logs, configuration logs, and finally, so applications, security, audit, and system related logs, performance related logs. That will fall under the audit and assurance side. Even whatever business you are doing, whether you're doing the payment-based financial transaction, then you have to do SOC 2 compliance. Whether you want to do with payment gateway through debit card and credit card, PCIDSS, whether you want to do business with the HIPAA oriented, sorry, healthcare oriented or pharmacy oriented, then obviously HIPAA compliances. If the applications are belongs to deployed in the European Union and other continents, then we have to follow GDPR compliances. It depends completely. So that is called audit and assurance. Second one, AIS. What is AIS full form here? Application Interface Security. Once you are deploying any application in the cloud environment from the scratch as a greenfield site, or you're migrating the application from the on-premise to cloud, we have to make sure that secure SDLC lifecycle. We have to identify security in the requirement phase, design phase, development phase, testing phase, operational phase, assessment. In infrastructure oriented assessment also we have to do computing part, infrastructure meaning here, computers, firewalls, proxies, all those verifications we have to do. For that one, we have a couple of controls are available. I can show that one. Business continuity planning and disaster recovery, BCPDR. This one also I discussed under the information security side. Resilience means here, so backup. So water business, it is like availability issue. In the cloud also, we can make sure that, so whatever virtual machines we configured, or firewalls we deployed, or web servers we deployed, or database we deployed, and so on, we have to maintain the high availability. So that is fall under the business continuity management and operational resilience or backup. Change and control configuration management. A change management along with the configuration management also. Something you are upgrading one of the PGSQL database server in the cloud environment. You can make sure that, for example, maybe right now 20.1 is a PGSQL database server, or MongoDB or Cassandra, and so on. You're migrating, sorry, you are upgrading from that one to legacy to newer version of the database server. You have to make sure that change control is implemented. Configuration related backups should be taken care, regular backups. That will fall under the CCC, change control and configuration management. Cryptography, encryption, key management. It's a very, 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 very important. Cryptography, encryption, and key management. Already we discussed under the application security side cryptography. Asymmetric, symmetric, public key infrastructure, hybrid cryptography, SLTLS certificates, integrity, digital certificates, all those. And also key management system, whether you are using third-party hardware security module for storing of the keys, rotating of the keys, storing of the secrets or passwords or certificates, or revoking of the certificates. All those will fall under the cryptography part of the SSL, TLS, encryption, at rest and encryption at transit. Everything will fall under this one. It's one of the very, very, very popular key domain. Data center security. Maybe you can ask now, sir, we are discussing about the cloud security. Why data center will come into picture? What is the reason behind this one? Why data center will come under the cloud security matrix or cloud security assessment side? Because whenever you are migrating the application from the on-premise to cloud, here data center is available. From this data, maybe you are migrating back up to the cloud environment. We have to maintain the data center security also. We should not allow everybody enter into the data center side. For that one, so data center security, you should make sure that you should implement couple of physical security controls also. That's why data center is mandatory. It's a dedicated only for the combination of the hybrid environment, like on-premise and also cloud environment. Those reasons, data center also important. Data security and privacy. What data you are storing in the databases, and also what confidential data you are storing based on the sensitivity, confidentiality, and also based on the one more parameter is accuracy. Based on these three parameters, we can go and we can make sure that these like as I said, CEK and also DSP, these two like hand in hand. Data at a transit, data at a rest level. When I say data at a transit, whatever data is trafficking via on-premise to cloud or maybe business to business or business to customer oriented, everything from this cloud environment, you can make sure that after SSL offloading is completed by load balancer. So even though it's completing by load balancer, it's a plain text. You can make sure that you should implement TLS 1.2 or TLS 1.3. That's what we discussed the cryptography side. For that one, we have this Diffie-Hellman or RSA or elliptical cryptography or knapsack or DS or AES and so on. So next one is governance, risk management, and compliance. Whatever business objectives and business goals, strategic planning, as I mentioned previously, Amazon retail based website, it is deployed in the cloud environment. What the governance here? Amazon wants to sell all the products related to retail industry. So that one should be maintained. It should be taken care of the goals and objective, how the information security should be aligned. So we have to make sure that risk management, we discussed already risk management, part of NAST 800-37, 800-35, 800-53, security and privacy controls based on the quantitative, qualitative, and hybrid, using the different types of the fair analysis, where analysis, and other brainstorming sessions, and the fishbone analysis, and also 9M analysis, and so on. So that is risk management. We have to make sure that we have to do the risk management as well. Complaints. So the risk management not only based on the NIST, even based on the ISO 27005. Okay, that is also one of the complaints we discussed. Complaint, what are complaints we are finding? Whether CS sorting benchmark, whether WASP top 10, SANS top 25, MITRE attack framework, or FedRAMP, or SOC 1, SOC 2, or HIPAA, those things also we can go and we can validate in the cloud environment. Human resource security. Sir, why human resources are required in the cloud environment? What is the reason? Why people are required in the cloud? People will not required in the cloud. People, we should provide awareness training. How to access, what to access, segregation of duties, role-based access controls, giving the training, giving the inductions, and so on. We can educate the employees. We can educate the people. We can educate the employees by process, drafting the procedures, compliances. So that one part of the human resource security, background verification, skill set matching, everything they should take care. It's not like, okay, human resource security meaning here, yes, obviously. So our employees, there is no need to go and so access of our human resources part in the cloud. Here, human resource security meaning here, employees education, awareness, policies understanding, process understanding, business understanding, governance understanding, educating, providing the everything related to awareness side, and the background verification checks, whether it is secret person, top secret. There are so many classification of the persons oriented, whether it's a trustworthy person or not, all those BGVs. Similar like ISO 27000 we discussed, pre-employment, post-employment, during the employment, all those. Next one, identity and access, like hotcake once again in the cloud environment. So it's on-premise employees or business to business or business to customers, how the authentication, authorization, ID concepts. So whether it is a native service based or maybe using federated identity and so on, we can go and we can implement according to the role based, according to segregation of duties, according to the multi-factor authentication, privilege access management, everything will fall under this one. Interoperability and portability. Interoperability and portability meaning here, in between one cloud service provider to other cloud service provider, is there any compatibility issues? For example, couple of applications are there, like a multi-cloud applications are there in our shared responsibility capability. In that scenario, couple of applications are deployed Amazon, couple of applications are deployed in the Azure in my organization side. How these communication compatibility should be taken care as a part of the interoperability, portability. Maybe using API calls, or maybe using the integrating of the respect one service provider to another service provider and so on. Maybe integral example monitoring part, log integration from Amazon to Azure, Azure to Amazon, and on-premise to Amazon, and on-premise to the cloud, and so on. That is called interoperability. On-premise to cloud from the different cloud service providers. Infrastructure and virtualization security. What are virtual networks, virtual machines, and virtual private circuits we are creating? So that may be part of our network firewalls, load balancers, application gateways, VPN gateways, everything will fall in infrastructures. In any virtual machines you are creating, you can make sure that. So at the time of launching of the VM itself, whether who can we expose that VM to the public or private or NAT, where the NATing can be possible. Can we do the network access control security groups based on the VM level or based on the VNet level? Everything we should consider. Logging and monitor what logs are generating in the cloud environment should be integrated to some other SIM tool using SOC operations, whether it's a native services or maybe using the some other third party using SIM tools. Security incident management, e-discovery, cloud forensics. Automatically, it has to discover electronic discovery related to discovery management using SNMP protocol. And whenever any security incident is triggered in the cloud environment, we can make sure that whether it is something got compromised as a true positive or false positive, and we can make sure that even evidence should be mandatory for forensic analysis. Supply chain transparency and accountability. So that is for especially business to business. Previously I said, if I'm doing any supply chain, so something they are operating to me, something like a Amazon, they need Roser pays for third party payment transaction. So they are supplying something to me. In that scenario, whatever Roser pay is deployed, how they are trying to access it. Is there any PI data they are trying to access? How they can access through VPN or not? What type of access we can give? Can we create access controls to them? According to that one, we can go and we can provide the third party risk management. That is called TRPM, third party risk management. Transparency and accountability. Who has done what? Trustable and traceable. Authorization, accountability. Everything should be called under supply chain transparency and accountability. Threat and vulnerability management. Whatever vulnerability scannings we are doing in the cloud environment to make sure that scanning of the application, scanning of the SAST, DAST, virtual machines and everything, we can remedy it. Finally, endpoint management. That is EDR or XDR related to virtual machines or servers or databases. This recently added. What are the recently added in this cloud control matrix? Previously only 14. Now 17. Recently added one is endpoint management, endpoint security, security incident management, e-discovery, cloud forensics, data security. That's why you can see color is different. Color code is different. Wherever newly added, these colors are black color, remaining are blue color. These controls we have to validate. So that's why cloud security meaning here, you should be aware of the cloud. That does not mean that you will become cloud expert. It's not like that. You should be aware of the networking, application security, product security, information security, endpoint security, network security. So if you are aware of cyber security, then only you will become cloud expert. It's not like I will learn about, okay, so maybe 5 to 10 services in the cloud environment, then I'll become expert. It's not like that. You should be aware of endpoint, network, application security, product security, so mobile security, even cyber security. Okay, so data center security, physical security, then only you will become cloud expert. That is the reason so many people, they will come and they will ask me, sir, can you provide cloud security training to me? What is my cloud security training here? Just like that, I can go and I can explain the cloud services and I can get the payment and I can stop the, okay, whatever I am going to complete the, okay, so course within 15 days or 20 days. Is it sufficient? Not at all. You should learn about all these security domains, then only you'll become cloud expert. If you don't know about these on-premise cloud security domains, then how you should aware of the cloud part? That's why I will say, like, first you can attend my classes, then you will aware of the cloud. It's not like learning about one Azure Sentinel or one Microsoft Defender Cloud or maybe one Azure Firewall, then you will become cloud security expert or cloud security architect or cyber security architect. It's not like that. If you know about all these security domains, then only that person will become cloud security perfect person, cloud security expert. Okay, that's the reason I used to say, so I can give complete, okay, so cloud security within 15 days or 20 days classes also. I can get the payment, but I will not satisfy myself, because you should be aware of the total end to end, then only you will become the cloud security expert. Okay. Even we did not discuss about network security. I know a lot of people in this class also not aware of. So what is firewall, proxy, NADS, NAPs, how it will work, what are the different type of deployments, what is firewall manager, APTs, and so on. They will not understand what is, because we did not discuss about network security at all. Okay, so that is the reason I'm saying you should be aware of all these things, then only you'll become expert in the cloud as well. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Thank you so very much. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. Good
Yeah, thank you.